Hello, fellow moviegoers. In today's movie review, we'll be reviewing renowned auteur Alfred Hitchcock's classic film, Vertigo.
So the movie mostly takes place in San Francisco, and it follows Detective John Ferguson as he has to prevent the wife of his old friend Gavin Elster from committing suicide. However, as the film progresses, Ferguson comes to realize that this case is much more layered than he ever imagined. We will get into the details of how it's more later in our review.
Yeah, and because it's hard to discuss this film and how the layers of this case without mentioning important plot points that occur during the movie, we have decided for this review to contain spoilers. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our grades and recommendations first, and then we'll move on to the spoiler part, the majority of the review. Basically, we recommend this movie to fans of like murder mystery and thriller movies. And if you have not seen it yet, we for sure recommend you watch Vertigo, just for the appreciation of the movie and before you watch our review. And basically, Vertigo, it is the story is really engaging. The movie never drags. You're constantly intrigued by everything that happens in this movie, even the technical aspects, which we're gonna get into later, like cinematography,
Editing.
score, all that. It just works so well together. And therefore, we will give Vertigo an A plus for quality and entertainment.
So let's start our review off with talking about the story.
So throughout most of the movie, Gavin Elster's wife Madeline, is supposedly possessed by the spirit of her great grandmother Carlotta Valdez, and even attempts suicide multiple times because Carlotta committed suicide when she was 26, and that's presumably Madeline's age when the movie takes place. And the reason there's all this like presumably and supposedly and wife is in quotation marks is because that is the twist of the movie. The twist of the movie is that Gavin Elster planned to murder his wife all along and hired Judy Barton, this young woman from Salina, Kansas, who looks a lot like the real Madeline Elster, to disguise herself as Madeline and seduce Ferguson.
So Elster knew that Scardy's acrophobia, which is fear of heights, would lead to him experiencing vertigo or dizziness, which would make him unable to save Madeline. So then Gavin Elster could use Scardy as a legal scapegoat to prevent him from ever being charged with Madeline's murder.
Yeah, and this is such a great twist. Don't you don't really suspect it, but upon like kind of going back in the film, especially in the way the movie is shot, like it almost makes sense because there's like a dreamlike quality to a lot of this film, and yet you can't really quite pin it down until the twist happens. So it's just a great twist, and it makes you more intrigued by the film's story than you already did before.
And the story comes full circle in the final scene where Scardy or John
Yeah.
Ferguson, how is he called in the movie, wants to rid himself of the past in his failed attempt to save Madeline, by forcing her to go to Mission San Juan Batista with him and react to the scene that led to Madeline's suicide.
So when Judy runs up the same bell tower Madeline did, and Scotty follows closely behind to the top, kind of egging her on and forcing her to go up the bell tower, he conquers his acrophobia, in fact, and feels less weak than he did when he was unable to save Madeline.
So
But
once
once,
they, when they finally reach the top of the tower, Judy confesses Gavin paid her to impersonate Madeline, and that Gavin faked her suicide by throwing his real wife's dead body from the bell tower. And even though Scotty and Judy embrace after she begs him to forgive him because she always loved him, the shadowy figure, which and then turns out to be a nun, investigates the noise ascending from the tower's trapdoor, startling Judy and causing her to accidentally fall out of the tower to her death.
so in Judy dying, the story is complete because Scotty is once again powerless and depleted in the face of death.
And it's shown that he's not afraid of heights anymore as he looks down the bell tower.
Yeah, and that's a great transition to what we're going to get into next, which is the cinematography and excellent camera work of this movie.
So the cinematography. So this was the first use of the dolly zoom, which was also called the vertigo effect. It's practically a regular camera zoom. and it's used greatly to visualize John Ferguson's acrophobia as he looks down the bell tower, where when he's chasing her, and it feels like it's a really big height.
Yes, and the fuzzy focus of the camera, especially in the first half of the movie when Scotty follows Madeline, gives the scenes a dreamlike quality, like I said before, and it ultimately makes the movie's twist make a lot of sense because looking back in the film, you understand all of what Scotty saw was a setup to invest him in this false problem Gavin created of Madeline being possessed by the spirit of Carlotta Valdez.
And the color palette of the movie also visualizes its themes. For example, the light green, when where Judy fully transforms into Madeline, it makes her feel misty, dreamlike, and makes you feel that it's a ghost. But then as she walks into the room, at first it feels like a ghost, and then she walks in, and see that it's that she's fully transformed into Madeline. And this also makes it feel more like an artistic creation than an actual human being to Scotty's eyes. Therefore, and when Scotty's obsession with Madeline is perfectly depicted in the scene as he looks with the green color palette.
So we're also going to briefly touch on acting, and really everyone's great here. James Stewart, a guy that was in a lot of Hitchcock's movies, his performance here greatly depicts the obsession that he has with Madeline and with this case and with this whole illusion that Gavin created. And he is like almost symbolic at the same time of conquering fear. He has like a full rounded character arc that James Stewart perfectly captures. And Kim Novak's performance is especially impressive because she essentially plays two different people, Madeline and Judy Barton. And like prior to the twist, when she's playing Madeline, we fully buy it. And when she's possessed, we believe she's possessed. And like after the twist occurs, and Judy has this flashback, we see how a woman's identity can be destroyed by a man's desire to alter and control her. And Kim Novak expresses this greatly through her acting when she plays Judy after the movie's twist has already occurred.
So this will conclude our review of Vertigo. We highly recommend you watch it, and once you have seen or you've already seen it, let us know your thoughts about the story or any other aspect of this movie in the comments.
Thank you so much for watching, and let us know what films we should review next. Bye, everyone.
Bye.